Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Moin. Hello, good evening. Hello, Redverse, Danley, Leutmanhead, Odinoko, and whoever might join in later. As you can see, I've hidden the Jerry. Find the Jerry. He's somewhere between the studio and his home, so he's not here. Sorry. Yeah, but that doesn't really matter today, as I think I want to make some progress on my Multi Award Winning Moonstone, and for that reason, you may have noticed the little bar on the lower side. I already set up my paint station, so let's get down to the floor, more or less, and we'll see what happens. Where's my button? There's my button. Hello, Mr. Wonky Goblin. Attention, lights going on. Whoop. So, I hope everybody can see. I've already done... Where is it? There it is. Focus, you bastard. No focus. Okay. So I primed them. And now I need to make some little crystals to put on their bases. Because the way I am thinking is the backs are black. The front is very bright. And in front of every miniature there will be a moonstone shining some light in an object source light thing of a kind way on the miniature. Because that idea has stuck for me ever since I understood how the game is working. I hope you have something to do hobby-wise as well, otherwise this is going to be a very rather dull video for you. Plus, I'm not sure if I ever made crystals from nothing, so here's hoping I can achieve something. Hello, Mr. Kebab. Welcome to the late night streaming thingamajig. Up until now, I was watching the opening night for Gamescom. And yeah, a lot of shiny trailers. Nothing that really piqued my interest. Either I'm getting old or video games are just getting more generic and boring by the day. Zoidpinhead is doing a hobby and putting together some goblin fleet bags. Whatever that is. I'm guessing it's somehow related to your meetup with Jerry later. The initial idea was I wanted to buy small D4s and put them on the base. But the thing is, I couldn't find small enough D4s, and nobody was selling them. So yeah, now I'm making ordinary crystals, for the lack of a better term. And then I'm going to stick them on the bases. So that might happen in a later phase when I've done painting the miniatures. So there's one crystal, but I only need half of a crystal for each base. So I'm going to cut him carefully in half. And yeah, that's how it's going to look. And I think I can try to make them a wee bit smaller even. Hello Dave, welcome. I need something to collect my crystals. That's XPS foam. Small cutouts that were left over from my Brock. You might remember that project that's still sitting dormant and is taunting me to be finished at some point. The odd thing is, in theory, carving crystals shouldn't be too hard. In practice, I'm handling a very sharp knife. So, yeah. This could go wrong at any minute. I'm pretty sure Jerry has taken off time to work on his Kings of War army. I guess. And I'm looking forward to whatever madness comes from that. $2,300 points, Dwarf Army and Noblin. Oh my god. Though, having learned from 40k, just points value doesn't really tell anybody unfamiliar with the game barely anything about sizes. Yeah, though I'm not sure he takes the beating of Zoidpinhead seriously, but the potentially getting beaten by. I mean, I do remember how badly the virtual dice failed him when we played on stream, so anybody else doing some hobby tonight? Anybody got opinions on recent Games Workshop shenanigans regarding putting Speckle Marine units into retirement? For lack of a better term. I'm just waiting for the inevitable discourse and other creators' comments on that. I think, yeah, people might have known that this was coming if they followed for 40k for any amount of time or any reasoning. I didn't, so I was a bit surprised by this. But then again, it's Games Workshop. Good evening, Jill. Hello. Has your gold button winning project found a new home? I've seen your post regarding putting stuff at the library for people to take home with. A shame that you couldn't use it for the intended purpose. Yeah, exactly, Dandy. That's what happened. Also, some tank units are being retired, and I think the whirlwind, the whatchamacallit, other variants of those. Oh, not at the library, at your apartment building. Oh, sorry, I misread. Then I stand corrected. Still, I hope it finds a way to a good home. That's enough for all of them. That was easier than expected. The Razorback, for crying out loud. There were some very familiar names on that list of things that go the way of the dodo. Or legends, expanded universe, however they call the non-official game list part thingamajig. So now I need something to drink. Cheers. I mean, the only thing they could have taken out that would have annoyed me really would be the rhino. Or is that already out and I just missed that part of the conversation? Ah, there you went. Little tiny tools you find when you start looking. So anybody in the audience have has anybody in the audience already painted some multi-award winning Moonstone miniatures? If so, have you did you stick to the cover art or the artworks of the game, or did you do something completely different on your own? Painting miniatures is a lie. Well, one could say so. You're not wrong there. Is there a gallery of sorts? Gallery. So many talented people. No, not going to look at that. What is that? No, different thing. Okay, well, then I think I'll need to come up with something on my own. Also, I might need some additional visualization help. Read, I need my lens. Because these miniatures have so much detail, it would be a shame if I overlooked anything. Wonky did the knoll, then he did some fairies, and Dave can't remember where he put his box. Well, that's bad. You should know where your miniatures are. What about the little guy there? Yeah, I think that's the easiest way. We'll start with a tiny little Knigget here. Spreading them around so the missus doesn't know what he already has. Yeah, I think that's a way to do it. Yeah, I think we're going to start with the little Knigget. Mainly because he's 80% armor. Let me grab some paint. Good evening, Zork. So this is speed paint. So we're going to use a dry palette. Where's my brushes at? Hello, brushes. Where did you go? That's the wrong one. Hello, brushy. Fucking hell. Nobody moves. My brushes ran away. Where's my... Huh. Oh, there it is. I know my miniatures are in one room. That's the best I can do. Yeah, keeping them in neutral colored boxes so nobody knows where anything goes. Why is this not where it's supposed to be? You go there. And you stay tucked under there. And now we try to paint a face. Am I in focus? Yeah, but it's way, way far away. That's, So you'll have a fighting chance of seeing what I'm doing. Feels like an eternity that I've last painted a miniature for some odd reason. Where metal minis should be sorted quite well, so you can always find them. Why is the music stopping? Oh, it's YouTube doing fuck all again. Now we need something leathery. Ardent leather. So, Thought ahead. Tell us, how far along is your progress with doing army list and painting up your stuff? Are you almost done? Is time running out? Does Jerry have the upper hand currently, or are you all said and done and just messing with him? The Abyssal Dwarves are finished. Nice. Well, he could be a very naughty boy and just messing with you. Have you considered that? I wouldn't pass that. Put that past him. Put that beyond him? I don't know. You probably guessed what I wanted to say. Oh, yeah. And if you're having something to test your list against before your meet with Jerry, obviously that's a priority then. Yeah, the army being wide was an interesting take. Skin color. Next article out this week. That's going to be a long read again, will it not? Are you aiming for a what do you call it? A permanent paid place at OTT, or is this just fun and a one time? Well, this is supposed to be Barbarian Flash, but since the shadow side of this miniature is so fucking dark, it is not really showing up. But that's, I guess, the point of all it. I like that the biggest UK Kings tournament is the test field for Jerry List. Yeah, that's something. The lack of content. Now that's harsh. But I get your point. And you're not wrong, sadly. But then again, I think having only two people working on the quote unquote press media side currently is, yeah, there's only so much news you can regurgitate. I don't think that's the main reason. I feel they're currently stuck between a rock and a hard place with having more or less only 3 people in the studio that are doing work on video-related stuff. So John, Jerry, and Justin. Tom doing work on the side, the technical side. So more or less Ben is doing the writing part, I guess. And yeah, I feel there's much missing. There's no Warren meets Matt. There's no build vlogs. 3 colors up. Uh, as far as I know, both the brothers Johnson are now working for Business Daddy at Business Daddy location. Though I do not know what exactly they are doing there. If they're doing anything there, that's the whole point of it. I wish for the 2 guys to come back and have a little fun with the rest of the team. But since they've invested in new studio gears, apparently, maybe there's changes coming that are just now interfering with regularly scheduled content. No, I don't think that the Ark of the Covenant ending for Indiana Jones was Jerry's Loft. Jerry's Loft is probably much densely packed with crates and boxes and stuff, would be my guess. Lloyd needs to build Rome before he's allowed back. Well, that settles that argument then. I mean, I've found it irritating that for some reason, suddenly now, Jerry and the rest is no longer wearing OTT shirts on the front stage show, which has been part of the apparel for some time now. So that might be a sign of change of things, maybe? Question mark. Well, since OTT doesn't run on its own, I'm guessing money is more or less the a thing with Wayland, and I don't think they are lacking funds in any way, shape, or form. And while we're at the stage of being a bit grumpy about how OTT state is currently, I have the feeling it's not only content that's not as regularly as we were used to, but also the interaction is quite down a notch. But that might be just my interpretation. I'm not sure how you lot feel it, but I feel there's much less talk going on in comments and the forums. YouTube, you are a sucking cunt. Just let me listen to music, you fuckword. No doubt, and again, Business Daddy is doing Business Daddy things. Potentially, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, the team must make something to make money so that Business Daddy keeps paying their salaries. You say that it's just because it's August, but it's been quiet for a few weeks now. I guess that doesn't help that it's been summer vacation time and we had a heat wave that made everybody real slow in the brain. But yeah. When Wonky makes millions, he hires Jerry as public relations manager. Yeah, that's a good thing. I think it is fitting that the last few drops of my original bolt gun metal are going on Multi Award Winning Moonstone minis. The only bloody part about this color is it's hard to say if the paint is on somewhere or if that's still the what do you call it? Uh, the primer shining through. Reflective color is a pain in butthole. Yeah, I did, but that's the trouble with the current lighting. If I were to get the mithril silver, it would on camera it looks the same. The difference is barely noticeable. So I don't know how that happened. Might be because the lighting is just too bright for actual metallic paints. Too many reflective surfaces. And I really should get myself some new brushes, I think. This one is really taking on the form of a very well-loved dry brush. Yeah, not non-metallic metallic is a cool look. I can't manage to do that. Same with object source lighting. Somehow I can't make it work. And I just realized using actual metallic paint completely torpedoes my attempt on this miniature with having a very shiny moonstone in front of him and having his backside be very, very dull and gray. I think there needs to be some more paint later on. And just to show at mithril silver, this here one looks almost the same on the miniature, but not on the wet palette. We will apply something to the blade. On the camera, it's indistinguishable, but for me, the bolt gun metal part is way, way darker. And I found another point. Yeah, that's another part of it. Painted on metallics have a tendency to fall flat on the face if you look at them wrong. But looking at them from the correct angle makes them look very nice. But in all honesty, who really plays with highly brilliantly painted miniatures? I'd say very few people do that. Glorious gold, only a tiniest dab. White Dwarf photos and box covers, yeah, and then maybe some gold demon entries of sorts. This could work. Yeah, most of my brushes have started to not keep a pointy tip for more than a handful of brush strokes before I need to clean them thoroughly and leave them to dry for a bit. Or you're playing on a very small surface area and are running around the table all the time, wonky. Otherwise, you're correct. Most things you see of your own army is their backsides. Because it just jumped to my mind, somebody over at Mastodon, who's a commission painter, showed a picture of a new project that has come in from a client, and the sheer amount of boxes. I can't really tell how many thousand points of Speckle Marine that they had to paint or have to paint now. But I imagine having that much disposable income to just pay someone to paint 2, 3, 4,000 points of Space Marines is just Jeebus Christ. I mean, come on, you got more money than sense. Why spend it on that hobby and not something different? I'm pretty sure that the points cost is a bit different nowadays, Redverse. But then again, the points value was just made up, but it was a lot of boxes. A lot. But hey, it's their money, it's their hobby. I only wish they would spend that much money on smaller gamers. Smaller creators. Maybe once in a while. For every 3 boxes of Spacker Marines, buy a packet of miniatures from other companies that are not Games Workshop. Massive darkness with 100 bendy plastics. Yeah, I think painting those that way, madness lies. How do I paint you, my little friend? Hmm. Hmm. This is a tricksy one. Yeah, speed paints are a godsend for miniatures that have to be done quick and in a literally army size. And depending on how you use them and combine them with other paints, they can be a very useful tool in the toolbox of painting. Lovely red eyes. I know the original had yellow eyes with stripes in them, but I like big bulging eyes to be red. Excuse me. I almost did not notice these tiny wings on his back. With hundreds of extra miniatures. Well, it's like people getting into a tabletop game of any sorts and just going absolutely mental on their purchasing. I almost said I don't get it. I do get it, but yeah. I don't think I would do that. Not again, that is. I'm pretty sure I did it for something and totally blanked it from my mind. Which zombie side are you painting for him? If I remember correctly, there's a few of them. Black Plague. That reminds me, I still have the Iron Maiden Eddies sitting here that want to be painted at some point. But for me, that's the best thing that came out of all the Zombicide stuff. Little Iron Maiden Eddies. When they're finally done at some point, they're going to live with my final records in the living room, staring at everybody visiting us menacingly. More paint needed! Oh, this needs firm shaking. I don't hear the boards rattling. Ah. Yeah, speed paint is great for undead and any gooey stuff, monsters, slimy things. Casualties, wounded. Oh god. Was it because the miniatures were so bad, or because there were so many miniatures in one go? I mean, it does take something to get one off his hobby for 3 years, jeebus. That's usually the amount of time people are taken out of their hobby once they have offspring. Oh, so a great combination. Starting to paint and starting with, at the worst possible outcome. Well, I'm glad you didn't throw in the towel completely. We'd be missing some lovely projects by you by now. A friend of mine is really big into board games and he often backs Kickstarters. And when I see what he's backing, I always go, why would you back that? But he's got a completely different taste in board games than I have, and that's fine. Gaslands, of all things. I might have misread that recently somewhere, but I think Gaslands is getting a new edition with more things added. Or did I dream that? Hmm. So undecided on what color we should go with this. Hmm. Oh, I get that, Jill. Lucky me, I still have all the cars of my childhood sitting somewhere in a box in the garage. Wonky printed a micro version. Well, that's self-inflicted, isn't it? But that must make a great travel game then. You paid for STLs? That's a thing? I thought S-Tails were always free because digital and stuff. I don't think I will ever remember how I painted these. So please take notes and send me them. So in case that anybody asks me how did I paint it, I can answer them truthfully. Do I rewatch streams? No. Occasionally, and that's very rarely, I do look back at stuff I want to remember, or if I had something that I found especially funny, mostly when Jerry's doing a pun. Uh, but most of the times these go out on YouTube and are never looked at again. Because I don't think there's much rewatch value for myself in it, and it's it's weird watching yourself on the telly. Let me tell you that. It's really odd, at least for me. I'm not sure how other people tend to see that, or if anybody else in this hobby is actually rewatching their own content. Looks like you undercoated everything mithril silver. No, no, not yet. It's all undercoated black and with a frontal highlight of white. But I guess the bright lights reflecting on the wet paints is doing a number on the video. Oh god, filming yourself to be reviewed, that's a nightmare of mine. Mostly, and that might sound a bit weird, but I don't mention seeing myself that much, but I really can't stand hearing myself talk. It's yeah, it's odd hearing yourself, especially since you usually don't sound on a recording like you're hearing yourself in your head. I mean, if I had for some odd reason I would need to rewatch the videos. For instance, like when it's not a live recording, but a tutorial or a painting blog or some kind of review unboxing. I would have to double check to see if I made any errors. Yeah, I already rewatched myself at that point probably 5, 6 times, and I don't think I would then go and watch the whole thing back again in one session. I'd rather risk somebody on YouTube tell me, there's something missing, there's a mistake, there's a typo, something, something. But that is just me. Yeah, silver needs to get a additional layer of something when it's dry. That's the worst part. If you're starting to watch yourself and you all start to notice things where you go, "Fuck, why am I annoying like this?" And yeah, same goes for me. I'm by no stretch of the imagination a born presenter, host, whatever. I kind of was forced into this by the event remain indoors and the inborn need to interact with people with a certain mindset. Yeah, or any other uh, fill word, gap filling word you need. That's a pet peeve of mine. And if I'm somewhere sitting, having to listen to someone holding a talk, and I start to notice a certain pattern with their talk, and they're repeating certain phrases over and over and over again, uh, I just get very annoyed very quickly. Because if these people usually are paid to talk in front of people, and they're doing these talks over and over again, and at some point, I'd guess um, they should be more fluent with their own topics. Or is that too much to ask? Doesn't look too shabby, the little one. Tracy Island is gone. Hopefully not just into the bin. Has anybody left a note, or have you seen who took it? Who done it? Keywords, is it in English? Yeah, in Germany they're referred to as Füllwörter, gap filling words, if you will. And it's even worse if it's not just a word, but a figure of speech that's been repeated over and over again. especially if someone uses words that are completely uncommon and are not used for anything usually. You haven't seen it, but there was a telltale painted sponge bush in it. Yeah. Let's hope somebody will enjoy your little gift. So, you little bugger. Hmm. Oh, he's got shoes on. Well, that's a relief. Excuse me. I know people will probably be annoyed that I use green skin on goblinoids, but those are my minis. He's going to be green. Not easy being green. At some point, I want somebody to make a what's the word I'm looking for? A scientific research on why the fuck, no matter how much you try to keep everything off your miniature, how is it possible that there's always some fucking tiny spiderwebby like thing ruining your paint? It's annoying. How did it even get there? Fucking hell. I mean, I would understand if there was stuff flying around all the time, but when I go outside, it's usually nothing. And yet, here I am, having weird spider webs clinging to my miniature. Quite annoying, if you ask me. Yeah, there must be something along those lines, Zorg. Painting gods or just some other annoying goddess having some beef with me for some odd reason. Maybe it's Enoia, the goddess of stuck cupboards, because I tend to organize my drawers in such way that nothing can be stuck in any way, shape, or form. Well, it's not ranked files, so I'm guessing that's is why he's never mentioning it. Oh, on a different but related topic, not basis, but games in general. I today had a little think about what kind of rule rules I like the most for any given game, and I'm not talking about the actual rules, so the content, but the presentation. And I find that the way Frostgrave does it is, for me, the perfect version. One small, comprehensive book. Everything you need is in there. No need to haul around codices or other gaming material by the cubic meter. You just have that one book, and it's everything you need. And I think at the beginning, X-Wing and Legion also fit that bill perfectly. And then I look at the tomes that are rule books for things like 40k. Even Blood Bowl is a chunky wonky. But I think the crown in that regard goes to BattleTag. That's a massive one. That's a book you can read for weeks on end. Well, you see, you're not having rules there. That's expansions. That's a different kind of beast. You don't need those to play the game. They might help, but technically, they are not mandatory to play the game. I know that they offer a lot of fun, like store-bought adventures for RPGs. It relieves you of the painful work of having to come up with your own stuff, but it's not needed to play the game. Yeah, but do they have rules that are uh, applicable to every other game, or do they mostly apply to the game they come with? Yeah, scenarios and factions are add-ons. I don't consider them part of the rules, so my argument stands. Moonstone, in that way, also has a very um, tight and small rules book, which is nice. Though I haven't played it yet, so I don't know how much other components are needed or doing stuff. Yeah, okay, you're correct on that, and that's the problem I and I guess some other people have with Legion and X-Wing, the introduction of so many extra keywords that need clarification, rule adjustments, and what you call it, exceptions to main rules. It just takes out the fun, I think, for me personally. I love the sculpt, but man, getting in there is hard. Well, I guess regardless of how long you are playtesting, you will always find something to tweak and fiddle. That's my guess, at least. If you aim for perfection, and if you're already planning on um, doing more factions later down the line, your rules might be perfect at one point now, but might get nuked because somebody thinks of something or discovers a way things combine that you never intended or thought of. It's like in computers. People make computers to a degree that they are absolutely foolproof, and then somebody creates a new, better fool, which then leads to machine go blip. Why is that paint not sticking there? Mm. Yeah, but technically there's primer on there, so there shouldn't be anything getting a hydrophobic effect. And I scrubbed them like silly. Well, can't be bothered now. It needs to dry. I'll think of something. Yeah, but now they're primed, so using toothpaste now I don't think will work. Plus, it's actually an official hint on the Goblin Kings Games website. I discovered today. So I didn't discover this website today, but I discovered today that they actually um, tell you to use toothpaste, mix it with water, and then use that to get rid of any mold release. Which is something that I've never heard before. But it obviously works, otherwise they wouldn't recommend it, I guess. What to do with the feathers on the back? Minty fresh minis. As opposed to gamer gunk. Where's my yellow? There's my yellow. Now for some quick wet blending. I hope this works as well as the last times I did this. Well, that worked, more or less. Why the hell did the primer go hydrophobic? It was a nice day to prime. I don't get it. How annoying. Yeah, these need more than one coat of speed paints, I feel. Why? That's more than just a bit annoying. Well, can't be helped. Needs to stay this way for now. The Duncan maneuver. Well, sort of, kind of, more or less, not really. The thing that I like about speed paints is usually if there's no hydrophobic effect on any surface, it makes my life so much easier. That's probably true, but still, I'm not painting on unprimed plastic. I'm painting on primed resin. So why is there a hydrostatic effect on the primer after I scrubbed them and gave them 2 coats of primer, one black and one white? At this point, I'm willing to blame the actual primer for being maybe going bad. Maybe me not shaking it enough. I don't know. I know that in winter times when it's very cold or when it was really hot, I didn't give the paint the proper treatment it needed, so that's on me. But today was the, at least regarding to temperature and humidity, the optimal conditions to do priming. Yeah, and Jerry said since I did scrub them and I'm using rattle can primer and not airbrush primer, I should have been good on that point. Maybe, and it's just currently just that miniature, the little wonky one. The other two went well. So, yeah. There's always something to be fixed later on, I guess. When that coat is dry completely, I'll go back in with another coat. It has worked in the past. I had the same problem on, I think it was a Battletech Mini. And you can make it work if you apply 2 or 3 coats of speed paints, if you're patient enough to let them dry. Which, to be honest, isn't really me. Good night, Wonky. So will I. It's not the complete 30 minutes today, but I need some shut eye as well. Plus the annoyance. The annoyance of picture colors not going the way I want them to is not helping the cause. It keeps me out of the loop. Otherwise, I think I'll be painting some more tomorrow when I have a little bit more time. Yeah, I might be an hour ahead, or you're an hour behind, depending on how you look at it. It's 22:36. I'm calling this a day. I thank everybody for being here, and hopefully Jerry will be back with us next week, and we can do some gobshite talking again. Otherwise, I'll see you on the forums, in the Discord, or anywhere else on the internet. You stay safe, sane, inside, hydrated, and best wishes to your missus, or your significant other, or whatever. Say hello to your cat. Say hello to your cat. Tell her I said. Pss, 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 pss.